Got a teleprompter in front of me now. We're advancing, y'all. We're advancing in the technology space. Hello all, it's Floof here. How y'all doing? And I hope y'all are doing well. It's been a while since you've seen me, so let's get started. Today we're going to be trying something a bit new, and by new, I mean this video has a script, so that way editing Austin can have an easier time. So now, future me doesn't have to edit out all the ums and uhs that would normally persist in past videos. I'm going to try and do this for every video going forward, which means that the video once a week thing probably won't happen anymore, but I can't be too sure about this. It's a little too early to tell. Another thing that you'll see is that I'm going to be a bit robotronic. That was off the script, but you'll get what I mean in a bit. I'm trying to read here is pretty much what's going to happen. With that being said, today's subject is this. This will probably cut to some nice B-roll or some bullshit. Also, you guys will be able to tell when I go off the script. Because, you know, it's all part of the fun. This is a Fender Player Series Precision Bass. Player 1, I have to specify now. In a wonderful buttercream finish. A personal favorite of mine. For those of you wanting the too long didn't watch of my thoughts on this bass, here it is. This is going to save you a lot of time. I think it's boring, but in the best way possible. Meaning that it's good, but it's not special. And you should probably buy one, especially now because the Player 2 series coming out means that the Player 1 basses will be a lot cheaper. We're going to work out the bugs, but I'm going to leave most of them in because it's funny. All right, now, for those of you wanting to stick around and listen to me ramble a bunch, come with me to find a way. I wrote Haunted Mansion narrator looking ass voice. That's the word. Hey, post main video Austin here. I wanted to just say that I'm going to be doing all the playing through my Aguilar Tonehammer 500 because I like it and I think it's a good amp. I'm going to have it at post EQ instead of pre EQ. Or pre EQ. I want it the flat one. I'm going to play with it so that way it's the flat one, okay? So this won't matter. You're going to see this. This is what I use on stage. This doesn't matter at all. I'm going to try and keep I'm going to turn the drive off and I'm going to keep the gain at noonish. But that's about it. Hey, look, there's the bass over there. Bye-bye! Alright, let's go over the good. As with any good review that has more than 2 seconds of effort put into it, let's start with the good first. The biggest good thing that I have about this bass is that it has nothing bad about it. It's an P bass. The old 1-speed is happening here. Although to some, this may be seen as boring and unintuitive or uninventive, on the other side of that coin, this bass has to be one of the most reliable basses I have in my arsenal, as well as being the most expensive by quite a bit. Being boring isn't a bad thing. As a matter of fact, some would call it a delightfully boring. Boom! That's the name of the fucking video. That's how we do it, baby! Fuck! Now with that out of my system, let's go over the spec sheet of the bass. We have an alder body, maple neck, and fingerboard, although some models have a Pau Ferro on them, more on that later. Decent tuning keys and pretty nice feeling knobs, although I think proper approval would have to go through Mr. Jonathan Dibble himself. There's also the F word on the headstock, which is the best thing about this bass if you don't plan on holding on to it forever. That will help you give at least some of the money that you've invested back. Like it or not, people like the word Fender on a headstock. Speaking of money, it's not too pricey either. I would say it's a very nice mid-range bass that makes you question paying the extra $1,000 fucking dollars at minimum to get American, especially because Fender USA is much the same when it comes to product sound and quality. So from that perspective, the Fender Made in Mexico line seems to be the best bang for your buck as long as you stay in the main line and don't go for any of the signatures, much like the Mike Kerr Fender's signature Jaguar bass. As stated earlier, going over the bad, there's really nothing bad here. Seriously, like, I guess you can say that the bad thing about this bass is Fender's own reputation with build quality, especially in recent years. Although I've seen a few duds from the Player Series over the years, overall my experience with the Player Series line has been incredibly positive. As a matter of fact, the reason I went and specifically looked for a 2018 Fender Player Series, which is what this is because I swear the necks on them were different. Even though I might have been mistaken, that hasn't stopped this bass from being my number one bass as of recent. It's a simple bass that does the job, and it's hard to find any flaws in it. I do see flaws in having the audacity to put Pau-Ferro on the other models, though. In all seriousness, there's nothing wrong with Pau-Ferro as a wood. It sounds fine. It just kind of looks like shit most of the time. It just never really made any sense, considering that Made in Mexico models have had rosewood forever, and then Pau-Ferro came out, and you would think this is just a change for the line, and the people on talk bass are going to do what they do best, bitch, and not much else will come from it, and then it'll just stay that way, and people will stop caring, or just go to Warmoth and get a rosewood neck, and not much else would happen. However, that's not exactly what happened. They brought back rosewood for the Fender Player 2 line, and it only really begged the question as to why they went Pau-Ferro in the first place. It's not a great choice. I wouldn't say it's a bad one either. It's just weird. And the knobs come loose pretty easily, so I guess that's the only real bad thing that you can have on this bass. You can lose them, so just be careful. They kind of tilt and fall off. So overall, this bass is good. I have nothing terrible nor exceptional about it, and that's okay. It's okay to be boring, especially if what you're doing works. I think it's a better bang for your buck than Fender USA, and now that the Fender Player 2 line is out, the Player 1's just gonna be cheaper. I would say go for Maple, personally. I think it sounds better out of the two. However, tone wood is such a minute thing on an electric instrument, so take with that what you will. I will also note that I find that the Maple fingerboard models to be more stable to weather changes, so keep that in mind as well. However, at the end of the day, color and fingerboard is really just personal preference, and with that being said, we need to put it into the meaningless rutabagas counter. Let's go! That I use on this channel. The restaurant is a banger, so if you're ever in the Orange County area, specifically the Orange Circle, Old Town Orange, yeah, you should go down to Rutabagas. It's the shit. With that being said, I will award the Fender Player Series Precision Bass a score of, and then I put drum roll maybe, so if there's a drum roll here, that's really cool. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5 Rutabagas. It's simple. Like, I think it's well earned. It's simple, it works, and although it doesn't do anything exceptionally well, it doesn't do anything exceptionally wrong either. So I think the score is well earned and what I think is a really balanced instrument. Actually, going off the script, I have a few more words. I have like a little teleprompter app, so if I look like I'm not at the camera right now, I'm just like laser focused on it. I'll get better at it, I promise. Before I go into the thank yous, I really want to develop on that. 5 out of 5 rudibagores is kind of a nothing sandwich of a score. Really, what I would actually score this on, like, if you were to actually ask me a real scale of, like, 1 to 10, I would give it the perfect 5. It is what I would consider to be the bog standard, the floor of what a good instrument should be. The tuning keys work. The neck feels good. I don't find myself getting stuck on it. It works well with rounds and flats, depending on your flavor. It's customizable without feeling like you've dumped a bunch of money just to take some of the parts that you dumped a bunch of money into away. It hits a lot of really, really good points. I've been using this nonstop with my band crew. We've been playing locally. As a matter of fact, last week, we played at the Mercury Cafe, one of the more iconic venues that you would find out here in Denver. And it sounded great. Sat up on the stage, gave someone a high five, sounded awesome. No complaints from anybody, out of any sound guy, out of any band member, nothing. It works. And that should be the minimum of what your instrument should be. I'm now going to return to the script, so Robot Austin mode will reactivate. Hold on. Thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you enjoyed this change of pace. This is what I've been doing under the covers during my hiatus. That and getting a new job, which I did get, as well as getting into Magic the Gathering for some reason, but that's another topic for another day, as well as Deadlock. That's a new one for me too, that's not in the script. If this video gets positive feedback, I'll keep up the pace with the scripts. This was actually kind of fun to write. I just have to figure out a teleprompter situation, which I did, so that way I'm not reading my iPad off the floor, which I did. It's on a music stand instead. Woo! Go me! If you want to support the channel, go ahead and check out the Patreon below, where if you signed up, you would have seen this video already. If you don't like subscriptions, neither do I, so I also have my Venmo down there if you prefer to support the channel in a more direct way. I would say you've already supported the channel enough this far, just by watching. So everybody, have a wonderful, and hope to see you again real soon. A little sooner than last time, we'll say. Peace.